Hey. Hi, everybody. So I'm going live just 2 minutes early today. I've been sitting here making sure that I have my little pages and everything ready to go. I have to tell you, I just went to my P.O. box and I thought I had maybe 3 packages. They send me an email every time there's a package that arrives, and it's been a couple weeks since I've had time to go. And I had 6 packages, and one of them was super, super heavy. So I'm just over here opening up all these goodies. Look at some of this stuff, you guys. Hopefully you can see this. It's like a Hello Kitty staple remover and a little tiny Hello Kitty stapler. Can you see that? Yeah, look how cute that is. Oh, you guys make me so happy. And color your own tarot. I didn't even know this existed, but it's the 22 major arcana cards, and you can color them yourselves. So I'm just oh my gosh, I was reading all this stuff. Brie Leclerc sent me her book, Beacon Field, which looks really good. After living in the shadow of her parents for as long as she can remember, it's time for Marigold Wilder to make her own choices. When her grandfather passes away, Marigold, oh, that's cute, is adamant about attending his funeral, even with her parents dead set against it. She packs a bag and heads for Beaconfield, but the old maritime town isn't the summer home she remembers. A bizarre series of disturbing events unfold, reuniting Mary with her childhood crush, Ridge. That's a unique name, too. That's cool. And forcing the two of them to unearth the town's haunting past. As they grow closer, Mary and Ridge unwittingly take on the responsibility of solving a decades-old mystery as they work together to decipher an ancient family tree. With time running out, they need to work fast before the funeral Mary, I keep wanting to say Mari, but I'm sure it's Mary, came to Beaconfield to attend, becomes her own. So it's a YA paranormal mystery. So this was a cool thing to get in my inbox. So thank you for that, Brie. I don't know if she watches this channel, but she said she was inspired by some of my publishing stuff, and she sent me some stickers, so that's exciting. And then Scarlett Cole sent me this little dragonfly. It's like a little book sleeve. I don't know if she made it herself, but you guys have just been getting so many cool things. So thank you to everybody who sent something. If this was from you, I feel very loved. Also, I forgot that I was going to be giving away these pages that I was reading. So I do have the first episode of Beautiful Demons. And then I have the second one that I'll read today. Claire says, oh, cute, you're spoiled. I am completely spoiled. I don't even understand. It's really cute. And the book does sound really good. I feel I don't know, I just feel super loved. But if you guys still want me to give away these pages, I feel like it's kind of cheesy a little bit because there's nothing on them other than just the words that I read for that day. But then again, it's kind of nostalgic. If you're here for the event and you want to read the pages or just have a reminder kind of thing of our time together, because I think this will forever just live in my heart as some of the best memories of the community that we've built here. And maybe, hopefully, 5 years from now, we'll still be here on Mondays or Wednesdays and just being chatting and hanging out. So I'm hoping that's the case. But for however long this lasts, I will give away the pages each day when I read them. So I'll just slip them into the mail, and just be aware. I will just be honest about who I am in this world. I am not someone who likes to go to the post office all the time. So if you win something from me, just know that it might take up to a month to get to you. I will do my best to get to the post office as quickly as possible. Ask Christabel. I've got a box of books here that I've been meaning to send her for 6 months. But it is going to go out to her soon because she deserves it and she does a lot of work. So Christabel, don't lose hope. Don't lose faith in me. It's coming. It could be longer than 6 months. It could be almost a year. I'm not sure. I'd have to look back. I feel like it's probably longer than a year. It's probably longer than 6 months because I was feeling like maybe it was before Evie came along, but maybe not. Don't lose faith in me. Christabel, I'm the worst. I really need to hire a local assistant, or someone had mentioned to me TaskRabbit or something like that. It's an app that you can do that's kind of like food delivery stuff, but instead of having them deliver food. They actually come and run your errands for you. I'm like, how much does that cost? Because that sounds exactly like what I need, and it's amazing. So George says, before we move, I hope. So some of you guys may know already that George and I live in the Charleston area, and we lived in like the Folly Beach area. And we were super, like if you were following my Instagram and videos and stuff about a year ago, we were living really close to the beach. Now we live a little bit further from the beach, and we've just been renting houses here because we still own a house in Columbia and that couldn't sell, and people have been living there. So we're hoping this summer we're going to be able to put that house on the market when our renters leave. They're in the military, so they're kind of stuck for now with the virus. But if we can sell that house, I'll keep you guys updated, because I'll definitely take you along if you want to see the home buying process, because there's a lot of beautiful homes here in Charleston. But we're hoping this year we're going to be able to actually buy a house here in Charleston. And so we'll see how it goes. But we've already started thinking, gosh, we might be moving again before the end of the year. So we need to start purging things. In other news, I ordered, hold on, I got to grab it. 1 second. I can't find it. What did I do with it? Okay, never mind. I'll have to show you guys on Friday. But so I had ordered a proof copy of The Witch's Key, and it looked great, but I just wanted to make sure that when I ordered the real copy, it still looked really good, because I'm nervous about ordering 150 copies of this book and then having some kind of error on it. So I ordered just another regular copy of it, and it just came in today, and it looks perfect. It's amazing. It's beautiful. It's perfectly formatted. So I am actually going to officially place the order for all of the paperbacks today. So if you ordered a Witch's Key paperback, you should be seeing in the next week or two. It just depends how long it takes Amazon to get them out to me, a signing for it and stuff like that. So I'll talk to you guys about it. Oh, I saw a few people mentioning the PlayStation t-shirt. I don't know if you guys are PlayStation fans or anything, but I've been a PlayStation fan for ages, and they have announced, or I don't know if it was a leaked, I think it was an official announcement of the design and everything for the PlayStation 5 that's coming out. It's supposed to be coming out later this year, but everybody's kind of wondering if it's going to be delayed because of the virus and the manufacturing in China and everything else. But this was a Target find yesterday, actually in the men's section, but it fits me fine. And it was only $8. So I was like, win. Okay, I'm going to grab this PlayStation shirt for $8. It's amazing. But the new PlayStation 5 is coming out this year, as well as the next Xbox. Is it the Xbox X or something? I forget, but there's a new Xbox coming out this year too. Okay, that being said, my son told me it's going to be upwards to $1,000. You're probably right, Renee, because I think when I went to the UPS store to pick up all my packages, the guy there mentioned my shirt too. And he was like, did you see how much it's going to cost? It's going to be $500 and something, I guess, or $499 or $500. But I feel like that's kind of typical for those devices. I don't know. But I guess they're also potentially going to have one that's just an all digital version of it. I don't really know. But anyway, I touched the microphone on accident, so let me know if I messed it up. Cherie says, I'm excited for the PS5, but Jamila says it's kind of ugly. I like it. I really actually like it. I think it looks very sleek. It looks very alien-ish, I think. So I don't know. I have a PS4, but I also have approximately 5,000 games that I bought and haven't had time to play. So let me know if you're like me and you have a bunch of games that you have not played, but you still want the new version of the PlayStation. So I never bought an Xbox One. I still have an old Xbox 360 sitting out there that's hooked up, but I never bought the one because I bought the PlayStation instead. But anyway, I am going to share my screen with you guys really quickly because we talked about last week, or on Monday, we talked a little bit about the covers being a little bit different now. So I just wanted to kind of show you again, because I showed this on last Wednesday's thing, but I'm going to show you kind of the progression of the covers just a little bit more for those of you that were interested, and then we're going to read. So here were the 3 covers for Beautiful Demons. And like I told you guys before, there actually was a 4th cover for Beautiful Demons, but it looked just like that middle cover, except my name was different. My name was at the bottom and the Peachville High Demons tag was at the top. And then when I decided to kind of brand all my books to have the same, like I just wanted people to look at it and recognize my name on the cover. So I had it redone, but it was basically that first or that same cover in the middle, but it was just 2 different. But I feel like each cover has its own personality to it. Now the final cover, I think, has been on the book since 2016, I'm pretty sure. So that one's been on there for quite a while. So here is Inner Demons, which is the 2nd book in the series. So some of you had wanted to see what the cover looked like for Inner Demons. Now, the funny thing about Inner Demons is that a lot of people don't actually see this cover anymore, even though I actually love, love, love this cover, the final one, the one on the end, because most people get it in the box set, the 3-book box set. And so they never really see this cover up close and personal. So I love this cover. I love this like stance of Harper in the ritual room with her dagger. Like if you read the books, you'll definitely understand that. But if you notice on that middle cover, what I had Robin, who was the cover designer for that, do is that every single book had a item on it that was important to the series, right? So this one's a dagger, and then she also has the dagger in the final one. Bitter Demons, however, never had officially that first like cheerleader cover. So I did have it designed, but that was, if you guys were here last Wednesday, when the book blogger was telling me when book 3 was about to come out, she was like, you really need a better cover. So when that book was starting to come out, I switched to these new covers, and I never published that 3rd Bitter Demons cover. So this was the 3rd book, and I'll just very briefly take you guys through the progression or evolution of the next. So here was book 4, book 5, and book 6. And I didn't go any further than that, but I just thought you guys might kind of want to see the cover progression. And when we do a Beautiful Demons read through later this year, we're going to do like a whole event as we get ready for the final book. And there are actually 2 books still to go now. So when book 11 comes out, we're going to start a really big event, hopefully, that we can all kind of celebrate the final book coming out. So when we do that, we'll do more of this kind of stuff with the cover progression and the different things like that. So just a fun little sneak peek at the progression of the first 6 books of the Demon series. So when it was originally published, you can see that it said Peachville High Demons, and that was the name of the series. And then it changed to the Shadow Demon Saga. So just a little bit of stuff. It is going to be so much fun, Renee. I've been planning this and talking about it for like 2 years. So I'm really looking forward to it for sure. Okay. So before we get started, then I am going to actually go ahead. Actually, you know what? I'm going to save these Beautiful Demons reading pages, and I'm going to give them away over in the comments of the first video so that anybody who actually watched on the replay and commented can get a chance to win those. So I'm going to wait on this one, and then I will give away these pages and pop them into the mail to you as soon as I can. At that point. So April said, are we going to go through the novellas too? Yes, we will. So when we do the big read along, we are actually going to do all of it. So we will do all the side stories, all the stuff that didn't actually even get there were like little tiny intro stories on my blog. We're going to read all of it, and I will have links and everything to it. If you want to go ahead and be reading before then, of course, you can find links to all of that over on my page. So one more thing I wanted to mention is this. So I'm going to full screen that for just a second. Oops. So also, just to let you know, I did create some free like wallpapers for your phone. There's a bigger one for desktop computers, and there's a different size one that's meant for like iPads or tablets. And these are free on my blog. I think I have them linked down below, but I'm also going to link them later in the Coven. I think that Christabel already has them linked for us in the Coven. But if you're interested while you're reading along with Beautiful Demons, or if you like any of these other covers, I actually put these two out of order in the middle. But if you're interested in these, you can go ahead and grab those for free. They're on my website, and, just celebrate the fact that you're reading along with me, and they're free for you. I did not finish the whole series. So I think I just have the first maybe 3 books. And then I also had Deceiving Darkness or something. So when we do the read along, we will have those cover art free wallpapers for all of the series books. But for now, they're not there yet. But you do have at least the first 3 that you can grab. Okay, so now with all that being said, I am going to read for you the next part, which we're going to call episode 2. And this will be chapters 4 through 8 of Beautiful Demons. And it starts with, I love this. Amanda said, I've had mine on my phone since they were released. That is so awesome. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Ale said she printed the background and it's a poster in her room, which I think that's so cool, you guys. So also, again, I do have these posters. It's always hard for me to be looking at the screen and then pointing here. I have these posters that are the Beautiful Demons book covers. I think they're 11 by 17 that I will be giving away some of those as well throughout these readings. So that's going to be super fun. If you have any really cool ideas of giveaways or events that you would like to do or see done while we do the rest of these readings, or when we move to the big Shadow Demons Saga epic end of year or end of series party, just feel free to either comment here and let me know, or send me an email if you have some cool ideas of some swag you'd like to see. I definitely know people want Venom stuff. Posters are cool, but they're a little bit harder to ship out in some ways. You got to get those poster tubes, which I need to get. But they're also cool to hang up. And especially these aren't too big, so you don't need too big of a space. Postcards could be cool too. I don't know. I'm just kind of looking at what would be not only cool, swag, free stuff, some of the Serbine type merchandise that we did, we could also do for Peachville. So if you have any ideas, I am all ears. And we're going to read this. This is funny because this chapter title is one that always makes George laugh. So here we go. We're going to read, starting with chapter 4. So this is what we're calling episode 2 of Beautiful Demons. Chapter 4, Guys Like Drake Only Date Cheerleaders. Come on, Agnes said, taking my hand. Let's go down to Lori's and look around. I'll help you pick out stuff for school. Downtown Peachville was so not what I was expecting. I thought it would be full of rundown brick buildings, empty storefronts, maybe an occasional pickup truck. Instead, the town was immaculate, with red brick sidewalks, lush green trees planted along the road, fresh paint in pretty pastels, and thriving businesses. Ella Mae drove the 4 of us girls into town in a big white cargo van that said Shadowford Home for Girls on the side. I was glad to get away from the huge advertisement that basically told any of my future classmates that I was a troubled orphan. Courtney disappeared into a consignment shop called Second Beauty, and Marianne followed Ella Mae to the grocery store, sticking close by her side the whole time. Agnes dragged me past a drugstore, a photography studio, and a clothing shop until we got to Lori's, a bigger store full of pretty things like candles, cards, and knickknacks. This is my favorite store in town. She pulled open the front door and a little bell jingled. A cute woman up front with pigtails and blue ribbons in her hair waved and said hello. Hi, Lori, Agnes called. Lori used to be one of the head cheerleaders for the Peachville Demons. She's so pretty, isn't she? This is always the first store I come to when we get some time in town. It was going to take some time to get used to having someone like Agnes to talk to all the time. It had been a long time since I'd lived with anyone I cared to talk to for more than a few minutes. I like it, I said, running my hand across a row of beaded purses on the table. But what can I get here for school? It's not like I need a purse or anything. Agnes led me over to the backpacks and school supplies. Here, pick out anything you need. I'm going to go over to the candles and look around for a few. You okay here by yourself? I smiled. Yeah, I think I've got it under control. She practically bounced over to the other side of the store, leaving me in the back section alone. I picked through the backpacks. The foster home I'd been in last had insisted I leave all of my school stuff with them since they paid for it. A lot of times at a new place, I'd end up with someone's hand-me-downs or whatever, so getting to pick out brand new stuff for myself was a real luxury. I personally liked the Hello Kitty one with the pink flowers. I looked up to see a tall blonde guy leaning against the wall, watching me. He had a smirk on his face, and I wondered if he was making fun of me. He was definitely cute, but in a different way from the boy I'd seen earlier at Shadowford. That other guy, Jackson, was very rebel without a cause, while this guy was all American, pretty boy. I picked up the pink bag and held it out toward him, then closed one eye as if picturing him wearing it. Yeah, I can see that. It brings out the natural rosiness of your cheeks. He laughed and grabbed the bag from my hand, then placed it back on the rack. Here, he said. Most of the girls around here wear our school colors, blue, like this one. What if I'm not like most other girls? Oh, a rebel, nice, he said. A stray piece of hair fell across his forehead as he leaned down to get a different bag. His eyes were as blue as the summer sky. What about black with blue stripes? You're all about getting me to wear the school colors. What are you, some kind of backpack ambassador for the local team? His eyes sparkled when he laughed, sending a little jolt of energy through my body. What were the odds of me meeting two crush-worthy guys my age on the first day here? This town was looking better by the minute. Sort of, he said. I'm the quarterback of the Demons football team. Well, that certainly explained his muscular body and tall frame. I'd never dated a jock before, but suddenly I wasn't so opposed to school pride. Well, in that case, I better take your advice. I chose a black bag with blue flowers embroidered on the outside, and he placed his index finger on his lips and pretended to study it. It's a little girly, but I suppose it'll do. He smiled again, then held his hand out to me. I'm Drake, by the way. Lori's my sister. Sometimes I come by and help her unload boxes on the weekends after church. The touch of his hand on mine made me feel warm from head to toe. Harper. You just moved here? He asked. Yeah, I said. My face felt hot. Would he care that I lived at Shadowford? I was pretty sure everyone in town knew what kind of place it was, and I wasn't expecting it to earn me any popularity points. It was only a matter of time before he found out, but I certainly didn't want to offer up bonus information. From Atlanta. Cool, he said. We don't get a lot of new people here. It'll be nice to get some new blood. I was about to ask him more about the Demons football team when Agnes bumped into me, sending candles flying. Crap, sorry, Harper, I wasn't watching where... Her voice cut out as she noticed Drake standing there. I bent down to help her pick up the candles she'd dropped. Do you two know each other? Oh, hey, Drake, Agnes said, standing. Her pale skin was flushed pink and her breathing was uneven. You did an awesome job at the game Friday night. I was there right up front cheering you on. Drake's eyebrows came together slightly and he looked from me to Agnes, then back again. I knew that look. My heart fell. So, you live at Shadowford? He asked. I tried to act like it was no big deal. I pulled my shoulders back. Yep, just moved in today. He looked around as if he were trying to find a way out of this situation. I gotta run, he said, backing away. Nice to meet you. Oh, and Agnes, make sure you pay for that stuff, especially if you broke any of those candles. As Drake rushed off toward the back room, I stood there, feeling like the victim of a drive-by. What had just happened? Was he really that stuck up? I'd experienced the cold shoulder treatment in the past when people found out I was an orphan or a foster kid, but never anything quite as blatant as Drake's flirt and bolt. What was Drake talking to you about? Agnes said. I sighed and helped her collect the rest of her candles and put them into my bag. I don't know, backpacks, I guess. Isn't he gorgeous? He's the most popular senior boy in school. Good looking, crazy rich, and even more important, completely single. Yeah, he's also an asshole, I said. Magnus looked around. Be quiet, she whispered. You shouldn't say things like that in his sister's store. Besides, he's not like that at all. Were you paying attention at all just now? He was over here basically flirting with me. Then when you walked over here and he realized I was from Shadowford, he turned into a grade A jerk and got the hell away from us. In my book, that makes him a stuck-up asshole. I doubt he was flirting with you anyway, she said. Guys like Drake only date cheerleaders. In movies, maybe. Agnes looked at me curiously, as if I had no idea how the world really worked. Chapter 5, Voices at My Window. After dinner, I said goodbye and made my way up to my room. Agnes, for once, gave me a little bit of privacy. I shut the heavy wooden door to my room, but when I went to lock it, I noticed something strange. There were no locks on the inside of the door. The switch to lock the door was on the outside, where you would expect to find a keyhole. I thought maybe mine had just been put on backwards, but when I looked over at the rooms of the other girls, I noticed theirs was exactly the same way. Locks on the outside. I shut my door tight and wedged one of my flip-flops underneath. Maybe that was part of the Shadowford rulebook, no privacy. I checked the bathroom and found no locks at all on that door. How could they expect me to take a shower or a bath here without being able to lock my door? For now, the flip-flop method would probably keep the door closed to intruders, but it wouldn't be enough to stop someone who was really intent on getting in. I considered making a do not enter sign to let Agnes and the others know I wanted privacy, but I knew that if Ella May or Mrs. Shadowford wanted to come in, they could. Then again, I thought Mrs. Shadowford was in a wheelchair. I hadn't noticed any kind of elevator or special contraption to move her upstairs, so maybe it was only Ella May and the other girls I had to worry about when it came to privacy. After I shoved another flip-flop under the bathroom door, I drew a warm bath and lowered myself into the refreshing bubbles. I guess I must have been pretty tired because I fell asleep nearly the instant my body was immersed in the water. I couldn't be sure how much time passed, but at some point, I started to dream. A woman in white floated down the hallway, her feet inches from the ground. She called out to me, and I followed her. In my dream, we were here in Shadowford Manor. Somehow, I knew she was taking me to the 3rd floor. As I walked down the corridor, I looked for the stairs, but there were none. How do we get there? I asked her. There's no staircase. She smiled and floated to the end of the hallway, beckoning me with a ghostly fingertip. The woman in white stopped in front of a section of the wall covered from floor to ceiling in wood paneling. She passed through it, and I tried to follow her but couldn't. I could hear her calling to me from the other side of the wall. I placed my hands on the wooden panel, but when it wouldn't budge, I felt strangely powerless. I pounded against the wall, pushed with all my might, but the woman in white was gone. I put my back to the wall and leaned against it. On the opposite wall was a large mirror. In it, I saw a bright red flash. Flames. Then, suddenly, a rush of heat came to me, as real as anything I'd ever felt. When I turned around to find the source of the fire, I was no longer at Shadowford. I had been transported back to my past, to a small 2-bedroom house I remembered all too well. I sat in the middle of my room, the remains of my angry tears still making a path down my cheeks as flames broke out around me. In the next room, I could hear a man screaming. Jill, with her porcelain doll skin and kind brown eyes, looked over at me. "What have you done?" she asked. "You witch! Why did you do it?" I tried to explain that I hadn't meant to start the fire. It was an accident. I reached out to her, but suddenly the door burst open and water flooded in, filling the room in an instant. I floated up on the wave, then slowly sank to the bottom, unable to breathe. I gasped and sat up in the bathtub in my room at Shadowford, splashing water and bubbles all over the tile floor. Leaning over the edge of the tub, I struggled for air. The dream had been so vivid. The call of the woman's voice, the heat of the fire. I shivered, realizing the bathwater had long since gone cold. I must have been asleep for a while. Carefully, I climbed out of the tub and wrapped myself in a towel. In my room, it had grown dark since the sun went down. I switched on the bedside lamp and changed into my pajamas. Sleep threatened my eyes again, and I was asleep within minutes of sinking into my large canopied bed. A scream woke me. I bolted upright, my heart pounding. The scream came again, blood curdling this time. I heard real fear in the sound. I rushed to the door and yanked, but nothing happened. Then, remembering the flip-flop wedged in the bottom, I bent over and pulled it from the door. I tried to turn the knob, but it wouldn't move. Someone had locked me inside. Panic seized my body. What if there was a fire and I was locked inside? Had someone locked me in? I banged against the door. Help! Is anyone out there? I pressed my ear against the wood, expecting to hear more screams and chaos, but there was nothing. It was quiet. Hello? I spoke through the door, but heard no answer. Surely someone was out there. Someone had locked me in. Someone had screamed bloody murder. Now, it seemed, the house was quiet. I began to doubt my own ears. Maybe it had all been just another dream. Then, voices at my window. The sound of breaking glass floated up to me, and someone made a hushing sound. I tiptoed across the room and looked down. Even outside at midnight, the air was thick with heat. The motion sensor by the cottage out back had been triggered, and the backyard was bathed in an eerie orange glow. Down in the garden, movement caught my eye. I squinted to see who it was, but all I saw were shadows. Had someone outside been screaming? I didn't think so. I was certain the sound had come from inside the house, but whoever these people were outside, they didn't seem to have heard it. Be quiet. A guy's voice. He was somewhere in the darkness near the back of the garden, but I could almost make out his figure. Oh, come on, Jackson. A giggle. A girl I didn't recognize. Don't be such a stick in the mud. I'm serious. You can't be here, he said. It's late. You should go home. Not until you give me what I want, the girl said. In the shadows, I saw her grab him and pull him close. His girlfriend? But Jackson pushed the girl away. Stop, Tori. You know that crap doesn't work on me. I don't understand you, she said. What is it about you that's so different? Jackson emerged from the darkness, and a blonde girl stumbled after him. Wait! Aw, Jackson, come on. She grabbed his arm, and he turned sharply toward her. In the glow of the light from the barn, I could see the anger and frustration on his face. Inside, my heart pounded watching them. For a moment, I thought he might hit her, but instead he yanked his arm away from her. Just go. The girl, Tori, had her back to me. She put her hands on her hips and backed away from him. Fine, I didn't want anything from you anyway. Jackson kicked at the grass as the girl walked around the side of the house. As if sensing me watching him, he looked up toward my room just as he had done earlier that day. Quickly, I backed away from the window and closed the curtains. In the distance, I heard a car start up and drive away. Chapter 6, The Big Stone Demon Statue. Nervous? Agnes poked her head into my room Monday morning. I stifled a yawn and waved her in. More tired than anything, I said. What was all that screaming about the past couple nights? Agnes cocked her head and made a face at me. Screaming? What screaming? You didn't hear it? I swear to God, it was like someone getting slaughtered out there. I checked my outfit in the mirror. I was afraid I looked like I was trying too hard with my black lace skirt and black V-neck t-shirt. Maybe I looked too morbid. As an afterthought, I grabbed a plain pink ribbon and wrapped it around my wrist. Tie this, would you? Sure, Agnes said. I slept like a baby last night. Sometimes Marianne has nightmares, but I've never heard her scream or anything. Maybe you dreamed it. I thought about the locked door. What freaked me out even more was the fact that I couldn't get out of my room to go see what was going on. What do you mean? I mean, why are there locks on the outside of our doors? Why did they lock us in our rooms? Agnes shook her head as if she didn't believe me. I don't think they ever really lock them, she said. But she was wrong. I knew. Stop worrying, Agnes said. Besides, you look hot. That skirt is so cute. It's very punk. I laughed. Thanks. Grab your bag. You don't want to be late for your first day. Together, we made our way down to the Shadowford van. I had half hoped we'd be taking the bus to school, but no such luck. They might as well have mounted a megaphone on top and shouted to everyone that we were freaks. I sighed. After the way Drake had treated me, I fully expected everyone at school to label me an outcast right away. In the van, Marianne and Courtney barely said a word. I wondered what things must have been like before I came along. Did Agnes talk their ears off nonstop? Or was she only this talkative because she hadn't had anyone else to talk to in so long? I'll show you where to get your class schedule, Agnes said as we pulled up to the high school 10 minutes later. We're both sophomores, so hopefully we'll have a few classes together. I stepped out onto the concrete sidewalk and stared at the school. My stomach lurched. God, I hated starting new schools. With this latest string of foster homes, I'd started 4 different schools in the past 2 years. Peachville High School made 5. The school itself was even smaller than I'd expected. A single brick building held most of the classes, with only the gymnasium and one other small building off near the football field. Most of the schools I'd been to in Atlanta had more students in the 10th grade than this school probably had all combined. I tried to tell myself it would be an adventure, a kind of social experiment. Inside, though, I just felt nervous. In big schools, you could always find your own crowd. There were always enough people around that you were bound to run into a few people who thought like you, looked like you, or at least were interested in getting to know you. Here, though, I had a feeling the variety was limited. Looking around at the students as they made their way to the front entrance, I noticed that almost everyone dressed the same. Jeans, t-shirt, boots, blue and black backpacks. Very apple pie American teenager. Suddenly, I felt silly with my black skirt and boots. I gripped my new bag tighter and silently thanked Drake Ashworth for giving me at least one solid tip for how to fit in. If I was going to make it work here in Peachville, I was going to have to find a way to blend. If you stand there long enough, you're going to turn into a statue like this guy. Agnes smacked the leg of the big stone demon statue that towered over the school's entrance. I stared up at the demon, and for a moment, I felt all the breath leave my chest. I could swear I had seen that statue somewhere before. In a dream, maybe? The ground seemed to jerk underneath my feet, and I stumbled, reaching out to the cold stone to steady myself. My vision blurred. Then the world around me turned black. Chapter 7, I Must Be Electrocharged. In the distance, I heard Agnes calling my name. Slowly, my eyes opened to find a crowd standing around me. Give her some room, students. A beautiful woman with dark black hair stood over me, her face full of concern. What's your name? I opened my mouth and sucked in a huge breath. Harper, I said. The sun was bright and I squinted against it. What happened? I'm Mrs. King, the woman said. You fainted, but I think you're going to be okay. Do you think you can sit up? I nodded, mortified. And, oh God, I was wearing a skirt. I pulled down on the lace, hoping I hadn't flashed anyone on my way down. How are you feeling? Mrs. King asked. Embarrassed? I said, trying to laugh it off. The crowd around me began to disperse, and I was grateful. In a town this small, though, I knew it wouldn't take long for word to get around that the latest Shadowford freak fainted on her first day of school. Agnes took my hand and helped me to my feet. I can't believe that just happened. I mean, I was standing there talking to you 1 second, and the next you were down, bam, just like that. She slapped her hands together. Thank goodness Mrs. King was walking up. Thank you, I said. I think I'm going to be fine. Mrs. King smiled and took my hand. I felt a shock of static electricity and pulled away. I laughed it off, but Mrs. King eyed me suspiciously. The serious look on her face startled me, and I wondered if I had done something wrong. Sorry, I mumbled, thinking about how the doorknob in Mrs. Shadowford's office had shocked me the other day, too. That's been happening to me a lot lately. I must be electrocharged or something. It's fine, Mrs. King said. She took my hand again and helped me up. Let me walk you to the office and make sure you get checked in, okay? I tried to take my hand back, but something had caught her eye. She stared at my chin with a seriousness that sent a cold shiver down my spine. Is everything okay? Yes, she said absently. That's a beautiful necklace. She let go of my hand and reached out to touch the sapphire pendant around my neck. Where did you get it? Oh, it was my mother's. On instinct, I grasped the pendant between my thumb and forefinger and ran it back and forth across the silver chain. The necklace was the only thing I had ever known of my real mother. Mrs. King stared at me for a moment, then she shook her head and smiled again. Well then, let's get you to the office, shall we? Wow, she was super nice to you, Agnes said once Mrs. King had left us by the entrance to the office. We watched as a sea of students parted to let her pass. Is she not usually nice? No, it's not that. It's just that she's kind of hard to get close to. She heads up the cheerleaders, and they're just so exclusive. I've been trying to get on the squad for the past 2 years. You make it sound like the cheerleaders are some kind of goddesses around here, I said, pushing my way into the office. Agnes mumbled something under her breath that I didn't quite catch. What? I asked her. Nothing. Her attitude changed like I had offended her or something. I've got to get to class. Hope you're feeling better. I shook my head and sighed. Was no one in this town normal? Chapter 8. Someone might get hurt. Except for the whole passing out in front of everyone thing, my morning went by without further incident. Classes here were small, but I was relieved to find that most of them were far behind where we were in my Atlanta school. At least I wouldn't have to worry about being behind on homework, especially since LMA had been so serious about me keeping my grades up. At lunch, I found Agnes and walked over to her, hoping she had gotten over whatever I'd done to make her mad this morning. She was sitting with 3 other girls who looked up as I walked over. Hey, I said, mind if I sit with y'all? Sure, she said, her bubbly attitude thankfully returned. This is Harper, everyone. Harper, this is Shamika, Randy, and Flora. Hey, Randy said, how's your day going so far? Hi, I said, sitting down. Typical school day, I guess. How about y'all? Always the same, Agnes said. Too bad we don't have any classes together. I have math after lunch. What's next for you? She squirted some ketchup onto her plate and dipped a French fry into it. I glanced at my schedule, then slipped it back into my bag. 6th period calculus, I said. Agnes coughed, nearly spitting out her fry. I thought you said you were a sophomore. I am. Then how are you in calculus? That's usually a senior class. I shrugged. I don't know. I'm not even sure they have my transcripts here yet. Maybe they put me in the wrong class. Agnes brightened. Yeah, that's probably it. I mean, sophomores are hardly ever in the same class with seniors. I bet once they get your transcript, they'll move you into my class. Uh-huh, I said, stuffing a French fry into my mouth. I didn't want to tell her that I had been taking calculus at my last school, too. She seemed sensitive when it came to certain things, and I didn't want to make her angry again or hurt her feelings. I figured it was best to feign ignorance and change the subject. So, what's there to do around here for fun, like on the weekends? Agnes didn't answer me. In fact, I don't even think she heard me. Her hand was stuck midway to her mouth, and her eyes were glued to something on the opposite side of the cafeteria. I turned and followed her gaze. That's when I saw them. A group of 4 girls more beautiful than anyone had a right to be. They seemed to glide across the room as a single unit. Nearly everyone in the cafeteria was staring at them. As they passed, a younger boy with glasses practically tripped over himself to get out of their way. Who are they? I asked. Those are the cheerleaders, Agnes said. Her tone carried a certain reverence, and I had to hold back a laugh. Man, these people really seemed to take their sports seriously. There was definitely something special about those girls, but other than their beauty, I wasn't sure why everyone was so awed by them. There are only 4 cheerleaders? Agnes looked at me and rolled her eyes. No, silly. Those are just the 4 most popular cheerleaders. The girl on the right, the brunette, she's Brooke Harris, senior and captain of the squad. I turned to look at the girl she was talking about. She had shoulder-length brown hair and was wearing tight black pants and a beaded pink tank top. Her smile lit up her entire face. Lark Chen is the Asian girl next to Brooke, Shamika said, nodding toward the cheerleaders. Her mom is the mayor. Lark was shorter than the others. Her bone-straight hair fell halfway down her back and was the color of obsidian. She was talking excitedly to the girl next to her. Then there's Allison Moore. She's got the most beautiful blue eyes. And don't you guys love her hair now that she's leaving it curly? Flora asked. Allison used to date Drake Ashworth, Agnes said, poking me in the ribs. I turned to study the girl with the dark blonde ringlets. She was cute and petite, exactly the kind of girl who would look great with a guy like Drake. And the girl on the end, the unreal blonde with the big smile, that's Tori, I said, interrupting Shamika. Yeah, she said. Do you know her? Not exactly, I said, but I had seen her before. My first night at Shadowford, she was the girl arguing with Jackson by the garden. She seemed so different this morning, not at all like the kind of girl who needed to throw herself at a guy to get what she wanted. I wondered what exactly it was she wanted from Jackson anyway. Agnes eyed me suspiciously. Seriously, how did you know her name? I think I might have a class with her, I lied. Yeah, that would make sense, Flora said. Tori and Allison are in our grade, but Lark is a junior and Brooke is a senior. They're all best friends. I would give anything to sit over there with them at lunch, even just once, Randy said. I know, they are seriously the most beautiful girls in school, Agnes said. I looked around and realized that since the 4 cheerleaders had stepped into the room, they had commanded the attention of nearly every table. It was weird. Sure, they were beautiful, but the way people were falling all over themselves to be noticed by them gave them almost celebrity-level status. As soon as they sat down at their table in the center of the lunchroom, a group of younger girls came over with cold bottles of water as if they were servants. I didn't get it. Of course, I was staring just like everyone else. I watched as the cheerleaders were soon joined by several other people, one of which caught my eye, Drake Ashworth. I tried not to stare at him, especially after the way he treated me at his sister's store, but there was a part of me that was curious about him. At first, he seemed so nice and sweet, but then he changed in a heartbeat. You can quit staring, Agnes whispered. Guys like Drake. I know, I said. They only date cheerleaders. Exactly, she said. He's definitely gorgeous, but he's out of our league. Trust me. She was probably right, but the way he'd flirted with me before he knew I was from Shadowford, well, he genuinely seemed interested. When I went to dump my lunch tray, I walked by his table just to see if he would notice me and maybe say hi. Unfortunately, I was too busy watching him instead of watching my feet, and I accidentally tripped over someone's backpack. My tray went flying, sending ketchup and leftover French fries flying. I watched in horror as ketchup splattered all over Tori's white shirt. Jesus, what the hell? She stood up and threw her hands into the air with disgust. Then she looked up at me. My face burned with fresh embarrassment. Of all people to fling ketchup on, why, God, why? It just wasn't my day. Sorry, I said. I must have tripped on something. I looked back to see what I might have stumbled over, but the floor was clear. I could have sworn I felt my boot hit something solid, but there was nothing there now. You've got to be kidding me, she yelled. You are so dead. Who the hell are you anyway? I've never seen you here before. Oh, Tori, didn't you hear about the latest resident of Shadowford's Home for Rejects? Lark said with a laugh. She fainted right in front of the school this morning. That's right, Brooke added. I heard they were getting a new freak over there. They should have warned us that she was so clumsy. What happened? Did you get too nervous on your first day of school, little girl? Allison said. Everyone around the table laughed, and I looked to Drake, hoping to find at least one friendly face. He met my eye for an instant, then looked away. Coward. I straightened my shoulders, bracing myself against the painful blow to my ego. Sorry about your shirt, I said. It really was an accident. Oh, you'll be sorry, all right. What was your name again? Harper. Well, Harper, you just made the wrong kind of enemy. The look in Tori's eyes was stormy and wild. My heartbeat raced in my chest. I needed to get out of there. I moved to step around her and retrieve my tray, but she stepped with me and blocked my path. Look, I said I was sorry. What more can I do? I stepped to the other side, but she blocked me again. I felt the heat of anger and humiliation boil up inside of me. My fingers tingled with a familiar buzz, and I took in a deep breath. I couldn't lose control. Not here. Not on my first day. Someone might get hurt. On the table, my lunch tray rattled, then rose slightly into the air. I gasped, and the tray fell to the table with a loud smack. Everyone around me grew silent. Across the table, Drake's eyes met mine, wide and scared. I told you she was a freak, Brooke said, breaking the silence. Some of her confidence was gone, though, as if I had surprised her. Come on, y'all, let's get out of here before she really goes mental. I stood there as the group of popular kids filed past me. Tori stopped inches from my face and narrowed her eyes at me. Cross me again and I'll make you pay, she said. I had officially made my first enemy at Peachville High School. Okay, so that was definitely the longest one, actually, I think, of all of them, except maybe the very last one. So just a little bit of a longer reading because I wanted to get to that point. And yeah, I did see somebody say, please make sure you don't say spoilers. And I meant to mention it before we got started today, but I know some of you have like read these for years and some of you have never read these before. So yeah, just try to remember that there might be some things that you would say that would be spoilers, but I didn't see anything like too spoilery go by. And as long as George is hanging out, then he should be able to grab them, but hopefully. I think somebody asked, is that something that happens in school here? So I was trying to like find it. Is that the kind of thing really happening in school over there? I mean, a lot of this particular book, being my first book that I published, came from my own experiences. And I actually have a video here that's like a vlog from last year or so. It's just one of those things I think that happens, especially in small towns. And I actually started school in kindergarten in my small town of Hawkinsville and graduated in, senior year. So I was there from kindergarten to 12th grade. So 13 years of school. And I just never really fit in, and tried desperately, wanted to be popular or well-liked, and just never was. And then it was like 5th grade was the worst time for me because I was already somebody that was kind of made fun of, but for the very first time, I had my first like kind of little boyfriend. His name was Russell, and he was so cute. And I had made this little, like, one of the people was selling, like one of the girls' moms or something after school was selling these little like necklaces that she would paint. And it was like a wooden circle, and she painted it. So I was like, we had been to this little party, which I didn't always get invited to the parties. And so it was like, oh my gosh, this is so sweet. Like he kind of wanted to dance with me. And like, you're like 10 years old and you just think it's like the world. And so one afternoon I had that mother make a little thing that said like, I heart Russell or something. And I gave it to him. And so we were like kind of not really boyfriend, girlfriend, because that wasn't really a thing in 5th grade, but it was just kind of like my first little crush that I had. And like a couple of days later, I'm standing on the playground, just kind of playing by myself, because very often I was playing by myself anyway. And this group of girls, very similar to this like foursome of these girls in this cafeteria. This is definitely where this comes from in my history. Those girls just came walking up toward me. It was like more than 4 of them. It was probably like 8 girls. And I had a class of only about 90 people. So these 8 girls came, and I could see them like from across the way, just like approaching me. And I knew they were going to come say something. And I was thinking, what did I do wrong? Who did I step on? What did I do wrong? You know, what did I say that made somebody mad? Because I just knew that look in their face or in their eyes or whatever. And the lead girl, the most popular girl, I won't say her name here, but she just said, we just want you to know that we don't think you're pretty enough to be our friend anymore. And everybody just started laughing. And, you know, it's one of those petty kind of things. It's like, this is not real trauma, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, after years of like wanting to be popular and wanting to fit in, and then having these girls that are kind of like the social world of your entire school come in a big group of 8 to 10 people and say, you're not pretty, which was something that my mother actually said to me a lot. It was just devastating to me, because I thought this has to be true. And when we got back, like the thing that just like put the nail in the coffin was that when I got back to the classroom after recess, Russell comes walking over and he puts that wooden thing back on my desk. And he was like, I don't like you anymore. And I was just devastated. And nobody spoke to me for the rest of the school year. So it was probably like 3 or 4 months that nobody spoke to me at all, like other than when they had to speak to me in class. Nobody said a word. So I would go out every single day and sit by the fence. We had this big water tower that was like in the backyard of the school. And then it was all fenced in with like chain link fence. And I would just go sit by the fence and watch the cars go by and play with like weeds and stuff. Cause it was just like, and if you've ever been a part of a small town community like that, it's just not the kind of thing that you can get over so easily. And the ironic thing about it is that Russell was the local pastor's kid. And it was like, you're supposed to be the sweet person, you know, but you got a baby? Did you get up? I won't let anybody ever tell this baby she's not pretty. Look at that face. Look at that face. You say hi to everybody. She's teething. So we've got this little teething necklace on her. Hopefully it's helping. You say hi. But I think that, you know, it's like in some ways compared to what some people went through, it's really nothing, because it's just like, okay, so you got your feelings hurt. But at the same time, I don't want to discount it, because it's just pure bullying. And it's sort of the thing. Look at that smile. She's looking at Daddy outside the window. You see Daddy? You see Evie? You see Evie? She is getting so big, Claire. She's she's 9.5 months now, but she's almost walking, I think. But I just think that we all probably have been through those kind of moments where we are bullied or not treated with respect or with love. And my heart goes out to everybody who has been through something like that, because you can believe that it's true, but it's not true. You know, it's really not true. And just one of those kind of things that we try to get over. And LA, I think, are you the one that sent something for Andrew? I'm trying to remember now, because I got like so many things, but I'm pretty sure it's you. But thank you so much. So we got a present in the mail too for Andrew's birthday, and I haven't actually given it to him yet because he was upstairs when I unboxed stuff. But anyway, I just wanted to say thank you since I saw you on here, because I'm pretty sure it was you, but I'm like, my brain is kind of leaving me. Thank you so much, Sarah. She said, wait, no, where'd it go? Comments going by so fast. Kids can be so mean. You're beautiful in all ways. And little Evie too. Thank you so much. Laura said, we've all been through moments of true humiliation that feed the voices in our heads that says we aren't okay. And I think that is very, very true, because I think that it's just easy for us sometimes to believe the hard thing or the bad things about ourselves instead of the good things. And so part of the inspiration behind Harper and this, this character here is that she's never known her parents. She has gone from foster home to foster home, and there's a little bit of a tease so far. You'll find out more about it that, at one point she did have an adopted family, that there was a fire there. So we'll find out kind of what happened there. And she's just been through a lot, and everyone treats her like, because she has these abilities that she can't control and people don't understand them, that they just are like, get out of my house. You're a freak. You're a witch. You're whatever. And so here she is on her very first day of school, when she's been told, you make this work or you're going to juvenile detention for the rest of your high school days. And she's now made this huge like faux pas of flipping ketchup and French fries on the most popular girl in school. So that is where Harper is right now. She's smiling because George is like over here, like making faces at her. Hi. You say goodbye to everybody. Say bye-bye. You say bye-bye. Deer in headlights. She's starting to say so many more things. She's saying like, she's saying night-night. You say night-night?
No.
Say no. She's starting to get a lot more little vocabulary, but she's not probably going to do it on screen because she never will. You say night-night. She's like, it's not bedtime. You say mama. Mama. No. She's like, I can't perform. I can't perform. That's terrible, Ashley. They called you Ashtray. I don't know why I wasn't the only Ashley. People can be so mean to each other. So this is part of where I wanted to start the story for Harper, is just like understanding, because I know that so many, especially those of us that are like book nerds or we're big readers and stuff, we relate to this, like being kind of the like shy, quiet girl, or even if you weren't shy and quiet, kind of being an outcast in a lot of ways. And I think a lot of us do kind of relate to that. So that was Harper very much for sure. It's like she's desperate, really, really wants to fit in. She really wants to not get in trouble anymore. She wants to understand what in the heck is happening. She doesn't know what these powers are all about. And she's definitely a fish out of water, because she's always been in big schools like in Atlanta where there's like 500 kids in her class alone. And so now she's in this tiny school where there's only so many people. And now she's just made, the girls that can make or break her success here angry. So we will pick up with that next chapter 9 on Monday, but on Friday, we will definitely have a little coffee chat. So if you guys are interested in having a coffee chat time with me, then you can feel free to ask some questions. We'll post a question thread. And other than that, we'll just kind of hang out, and then we will do episode 3 on Monday. So I just feel like I know I do see some people sharing like some other things saying that, yes, they escaped into books, that they had some awful experiences. But the good thing is that we're all sitting here now, and you have a community here that loves you and appreciates you and would never treat you that way ever, ever again. Christabel says, what's really sad is there are people ending their lives because of bullying, and some have gone through less than what I endured. And it's so true that especially when you're younger and you haven't really found yourself or what is really important to you, and you're just trying so hard to like see what other people think and to figure out your place in the world. It's so difficult to be treated that way. And I wanted to write a book that was about a character coming from this place, and what does she have to overcome to become her own person, to become strong. And that's really what this whole series is about. So if you're new to Harper, you are going to see what happens to her over the course of time, and you are going to hopefully love her forever. But anyway, so I am going to give away these pages as well. And so I'm just going to kind of scroll up. I'm going to scroll up quite a bit if I can. It'll only let me go so far. Okay, so I'm going to just kind of scroll around, and let's see. Claire. So Claire, I don't remember if you've won anything yet. Let me know if you've won something and I can give it to somebody else because I didn't make a list of who has won during these readings. But Claire, if you have not won something, then I will send you these pages. I need to start making a list, like a spreadsheet of who's won stuff and who hasn't won stuff. Christabel says the post is already up. So if you have any questions for Friday's coffee chat, let me know. And that post is already up in the Coven. If you need to, if you haven't joined us, the link to join is down below in the description box. So, Claire, I will send you these pages. Just email me at sarah@sarahcannon.com. Oh, nope. Well, that's it, except for the P. Sorry about that. But I will sign and give away all of these pages each week or each reading. And like I said, I will still give away these first pages from episode 1, but I'm going to do it over on the comments of episode 1, which has over 1,000 views on it already. So that is awesome. It doesn't look like we quite made it up to 100 today, but I also know that people are starting to go back to work. So it's just, we might have kind of varying numbers, but I'm so glad that you guys are here. Make sure that you hit the thumbs up when you, before you leave. And I will see you guys on Wednesday for a coffee chat. And then Monday, we will start back up with episode 3. I didn't start it yet, but I am also going to put these chapters up on my blog like I did for the Witch's Key. Or I'm going to put the video up on my blog and leave a link to Wattpad where you can read them. I'm just not sure which one I'm going to do. But if you have not read these books before and you would like to, if you're interested in what's going to happen next, the first 3 books of this series, which I have the 3 covers here, are available in the like Amazon store, Apple store, everywhere you can buy ebooks. So you've got the link down below to that for sure. Yay, Laura, love the Coffee Chat Fridays. And now I have my Sir Bean mug. Awesome. Very cool. I think we need to do so I've got this, I had this made as if it was like a real sports school, like a cheerleading thing for Peachville High School. So I can actually put this on a mug as well if you wanted like a Peachville High School thing. But I really want to come up with some fun new kind of like designs for Peachville, or we'll just kind of see. So I will let you know. Oh no, Mona is still waiting. That's terrible. You guys, I'm sorry for everybody that's still waiting. And then Christabel ended up with 2 mugs. I think somebody else ended up with like just a random mug that they didn't order. So who knows? So April said, I told my sister-in-law to download the Shadow Demons. This is another thing. Like if you're enjoying this and you want to find a way to support me, for sure, another great way to do it is to just share the box set for free with other people. Just say, hey, I'm reading this cool series. And I would love for you to read it with me or whatever, and have them download the books and get started on the series. I would certainly appreciate it if you would share that news. And that's all we have today, you guys. I love you all so much. Thank you for hanging out. And it was kind of fun to show you those covers. Don't forget that you can download the free wallpapers and put them on your phone or on your computer as well. So, all right, you guys, I will see you on Friday for our coffee chat. Okay. All right. Bye.